Usually for my demonstrations, I would like to bring a joke in or use some type of humor to involve the class and bring a lighthearted feeling to the class. But unfortunately for this presentation and demonstration, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to get very real and we're going to talk about a very serious topic. Depression, mental awareness, and also running away. All these things are critical and all these things are very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Last weekend, my daughter, she ran away from home. As a panicked father, not knowing what to do, I immediately had to remain calm and use proper steps and techniques to retrieve her and hopefully try to get her back. So, all of this started about last week. I noticed that she never came home from school, and I assumed that she was at her friend's house or that she was just hanging out after school. No big deal, she typically does that, so I didn't pay it any mind. As the time grew, and the time grew later, I noticed that she wasn't answering her phone, and also that she wasn't returning my text or any of my phone calls. Then I began to worry. After a couple more hours, I noticed that she still has not returned. So I started to panic and go into instant freakout mode. According to the National Runaway Switchboard, an organization that takes calls and helps kids who have run away and are thinking of running away, 1 in 7 kids between the ages of 10 and 18 will run away at some point, and at least 1 million to 3 million children are currently homeless in the streets right now. California has a major sex trafficking problem, especially when it comes to adolescents. According to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, the largest human trafficking cases reported in California are among the largest, and reported from California are among the largest reported in the United States. In fact, San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco are the 3 of the 10 worst child sex trafficking cities in the United States. So, with this knowledge being said, of course, you would be concerned as well. So let's go over the steps and resources and techniques that I used in order for me to get my child back. First, I called the cops and I ensured to tell them all the information that I knew about my child and to make sure that she made it home safely. Secondly, I made sure I drove and I made sure I contacted all of her friends and all of her school and all of her local hangout spots to make sure that she was there or to see if that she would be available. Lastly, I made sure I contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, with these steps, I was able to find my daughter and she was able to come home and be safe. Now, I'm going to break down each step and how I was able to come about and the ending result from each step. Firstly, when I called the cops, I made sure to give them all the information needed, as such as my child's name, height, her any birth markings, her name, what she was last wearing, any possible physical thing that I could show them to prove that that was my daughter and to hopefully bring her back safer or sooner. Secondly, I drove around the city looking for her. I knew that she was at school last, so I went around the school driving around. I also went to several friends' houses looking for her and hopefully finding her location, as well as contacting her friends on social media, trying to get a response from them. But of course, they were nowhere to be found and they were no longer to be located. So, lastly, I went back home, tried to be as calm as possible, and I contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There, they were able to give me resources and tips that will connect me with local agencies to help me find my child. And now what they'll do is they'll basically put out a more or less like a search team to help you find your child, and if anything, they will help you do like an Amber Alert or further help you in the process of finding your child. So to review, Firstly, I called the cops to make sure that I can first make sure I can locate her. Secondly, I drove around the city to make sure that I was leaving no stone unturned. I wanted to make sure that I was able to physically go out there and look for her at her known spots that she liked to hang out, like the malls, the skate parks, anywhere that I knew that she might be at. And then lastly, I contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There, they gave me resources and the right person to connect with in order to bring back my child. So after a couple days and a long weekend of praying, crying, she came home. This past Tuesday, she was able to make it home. And what I just really want to convey in this message is, during the pandemic, we all have a responsibility to communicate with each other, and we have to make sure that everybody's mental and physical being are well taken care of, because you never know what anybody's going through. So if anything, this pandemic has taught me that communication is definitely key. Thank you.